fire is burning, the long night draws near. All who need comfort are welcome by here. We'll dance 'neath the stars and toast the past year, for the spirit of solstice is still living here. We'll count all our blessings while the mother lays down, with snow as her blanket covering the ground. Thanks to the mother for the life that she brings. She'll waken to warm us again in the spring. The poor and the hungry, the sick and the lost, these are our children, no matter the cost. Come by the fire, the harvest to share. The spirit of solstice is still living here. A fire is burning, the long night draws near. All who need comfort are welcome by here. We'll dance 'neath the stars and toast the past year, for the spirit of solstice is still living here. The spirit of solstice is still living here.
Oh moonlights seem increasingly desperate this time of year in their struggle against darkness, blinking red and green, blue and white, trying to push back the winter solstice with an hysterical flurry of electric bulbs. For all the talk about stars and baby Jesus, it seems more like a frantic fear of the dark. God's stars have disappeared into the man-made glare of the city. Only Venus, Saturn, Mars, and Jupiter mimic stars in the depleted sky. You'd never guess the Pleiades were there, or that one long arm of our spiral galaxy wraps around us as the Milky Way.
Well, welcome, friends, to Solstice 2020. Every year on the longest night, our church welcomes the darkness in a worship service, telling ancient stories, welcoming eternal energies of winter and cold, moonlight and starlight. Drumming, dancing, music, and feasting are part of our celebration most years. But this year, we celebrate from the warm comfort of our homes, our dens, where we hibernate and hunker down, just like the wild creatures. Tonight, we welcome the mother from whose womb we each emerged and to whose womb we shall all return. Tonight, we look into the dark western sky and see two planets become one, and their dim light promises. But tomorrow, we will see the sun over the mountains in the east once again. Tonight, we settle into quiet, into dark, into winter. Let us see what else rises for us in this season. Our chalice lighting words tonight are by the Reverend Greta Jo Seidel. May the longest night hold you tenderly, the dark nurture you as a womb, the fire warm even that which is hidden from yourself. The deep of unknown possibility call you on. The growing light illuminate the way forward.
Hello, everyone. I would like to wish everyone solstice cheer. And tonight I would like to read a favorite poem called The Shortest Day by Susan Cooper. And so the shortest day came and the year died. And everywhere down the centuries of the snow-white world came people singing, dancing to drive the dark away. They lighted candles in the winter trees. They hung their homes with evergreens. They burned beseeching fires all night long to keep the year alive. And when the day's sunshine blazed awake, they shouted, reveling. Through all the frosty ages, you can hear them echoing behind us. Listen, all the long echoes sing the same delight this shortest day, as promise wakens in the sleeping land. They carol, feast, give thanks, and dearly love their friends, and hope for peace. And so do we, here, now, this year and every year. Welcome, Yule.
Thank you, Carolyn, for sharing that with us tonight. That was beautiful. I have my own story to share with you all, and it is from this book, Fireside Stories, A Tale of Winter Eve. And this story is an old story from Indigenous tribes out of Canada, and it is called The Bag of Warmth. Once, long ago, before there were any people, there was a very long winter. The sun was hidden behind black clouds, and the snow just fell and fell. After 3 years of this, the animals got together to discuss what they should do. As they gathered in council, they agreed that it was because of the lack of warmth that they were so cold and hungry. But no one had any ideas about what they could do to change things for the better. Then the sharp-eyed wolf noticed that there were no bears at the council. Perhaps the bears know something we don't. I wonder whether they're keeping the warmth to themselves. So it was decided that 7 animals should go and find the bears: the sharp wolf, the quick fox, the bobcat, the nosy wolverine, the wise pike, the secretive mouse, and the strong dogfish should go and seek out the bears. All of the animals knew that the bears lived somewhere in the upper world, but how were they to find them? The wise pike suggested that all of the questing animals sit around the fire and chant for help. As the different animals howled and barked and growled and snuffled and squeaked and bubbled in their own voices, their song rose up like a wind, shaping the smoke from the fire into a pathway that enabled them to rise upwards and pass through a hole in the sky. In the upper world, they came to a big lake and a hut built beside it. The animals went in and found 2 young bear cubs huddled together by a fire. "Where's your mother?" they asked the bear cubs. "Oh, mother's gone hunting," they replied. The animals looked around the hut and noticed lots of bags hanging from poles. The swift bobcat asked about the bag nearest him. "What's in that bag?" "Oh, mother keeps the rain in that one," said the bear cubs. "What's in this one?" said the secretive mouse. "Oh, that one is full of winds." "And what's in this one?" asked the quick fox. "That one has got fog in it," replied the little bears. Nosy Wolverine sniffed loudly at the bag nearest him. "What about this one here?" "Oh, we can't tell you that. Mother keeps that one secret and we're not allowed to tell." "You can tell us," said the mouse, sweetly encouraging. "We're your friends." The little bears put their paws over their noses, remembering how hard their mother could cuff them. "Mother would be angry with us for telling you." Swift Bobcat put his head to one side and said, "But how would she know? We wouldn't tell her." The bear cubs were confused by this, but the animals were all very friendly, so it seemed safe enough. "In that bag she keeps the warmth," they said shyly. "Well, thank you kindly," said the sharp wolf, grinning. The visitors all went outside to have a council meeting to decide what to do. "We need a diversion so that bag can be stolen," said the wise pike. "And we need to make sure that the bear won't run after us too fast once we've got the bag," said the little mouse, who had smaller legs than the rest of them. The secretive mouse got on Quick Fox's back, and the fox ran to where the mother bear's canoe was moored on the side of the lake. Mouse immediately set to gnawing through the good parts of the paddle. Then the 3 watched and waited. Their patience was soon rewarded. The bear came running into view around the other side of the lake. Quick as a flash, Swift Bobcat changed himself into a plump caribou. The bear smelled the caribou and began to yell for her children to come and help her catch some food. The cubs tumbled out of the hut and ran for her. Everything was happening just as the animals had hoped. The caribou bobcat picked up his legs and began to lead the bears deep into the forest. As soon as the bears were out of sight, the other animals unhooked the bag of warmth and ran off with it. Doubling back swiftly to the lake, the caribou bobcat launched himself into the waters and swam across. The mother bear rushed after him. She told her cubs to wait for her on the bank, and then she jumped in her canoe and set out after Caribou Bobcat. But after she had taken just a few strokes, her paddle broke into pieces. She fell headfirst into the river, and down went the canoe. The bobcat changed back into his old form when he reached the other side of the lake. Quickly now, let's run before she can follow us. The bag of warmth was very heavy, and the animals had to take turns to drag it back to the hole where they had come into this world. They began to pull it more and more slowly until they could almost feel the heat of the bear's breath on the back of their necks. Finally, the dogfish, who had done nothing yet, grabbed the bag with his mouth and pulled it through the hole with a shake of his strong back. The bag and all of the animals fell rapidly through the hole, tumbling down the path with a path of smoke back into their own world below. As soon as they regained their breath, they tore open the bag. To everyone's relief, warmth rushed out and spread in all directions. Ice and snow began to melt. The black clouds dissolved and the sun came out at last. But the ice and snow were melting so fast that it caused a terrible flood. All of the rivers flowed down to the seas so quickly that the seas rose all over the world. The only thing left sticking up out of the water was the tallest tree in the world. The animals climbed onto its mighty branches and called for help. Deep beneath the sea, a giant fish heard their call and rose to the surface. It drank up the floodwaters until it had swollen to such a size as a mountain. And there it remains, as great a mountain forever afterward. And so the sun dried up the land. The trees and the flowers began to bloom again and again as the sun was able to replace the winter cold. Now, and that was how the animals brought the bag of warmth back to the earth.
A fire is burning, the long night draws near. All who need comfort are welcome by here. We'll dance 'neath the stars and toast the past year, for the spirit of solstice is still living here. We'll count all our blessings while the mother lays down, with snow as her blanket covering the ground. Thanks to the mother for the life that she brings. She'll waken to warm us again in the spring. The poor and the hungry, the sick and the lost, these are our children, no matter the cost. Come by the fire, the harvest to share, for the spirit of solstice is still living here. A fire is burning, the long night draws near. All who need comfort are welcome by here. We'll dance 'neath the stars and toast the past year, for the spirit of solstice is still living here. The spirit of solstice is still living here.
And now for a special treat. We have a play put on by the Bowling Sisters. And this will be, you'll see this on your screen, and it is the Yule Fairies, the New Sun King.
This is a story called the Yule Fairies, a winter solstice story. A group of little fairies huddled in their home deep under the roots of a giant oak tree. They were safe and snug in their tiny underground cave, lined with dandelion fluff, bird feathers, and dried moss. Outside, the wind blew cold and the snow fell softly down to cover the ground. "I saw the Sun King today," the fairy named Rose said. She pulled her mossy cloak tighter around her. "He looked so old and tired as he walked off through the forest. What is wrong with him?" The great oak said, "He's dying," answered Daffodil. "Dying? Oh, what will we do now?" Little Meadowgrass started to cry. "If the Sun King dies, our little plant friends will not grow. The birds will not come and sing again, and everything will be winter forever." Lilac, Dandelion, and Elder Blossom tried to comfort their friend, but they were all very sad. As they huddled together, there was a knock on the tiny door. "Open up, fairies," called out a loud voice. "Why are you hiding instead of joining us in our solstice celebration?" Rose opened the door, and the little gnome Brown Nobby pushed inside, shaking the glistening snowflakes off his brown coat and hat. "We are too sad to celebrate," Daffodil said, wiping her eyes. "The Sun King is dying. Haven't you heard?" "He is dead, you silly fairies." Brown Nobby's round dark eyes sparkled with laughter. "Now hurry, or we'll be late for the celebration." "How can you be happy and laughing?" Elder Blossom stamped her little foot and frowned at the gnome. "If the Sun King is dead, it will be winter always, and we will never see the sun again." "Silly little fairies." Brown Nobby grabbed Dandelion by the hand and pulled her to her feet. "There is a secret to the winter solstice. Don't you want to know what it is?" The fairies looked at him in surprise. "Secret?" they all said. "What secret? We are only new little fairies, you silly gnome. We've never been to a solstice celebration before." Come and see! Come and see! Get your capes and come with me." Brown Nobby danced and jigged around the room. "Hurry, hurry, don't be slow, to the sacred oak grove through the snow." He danced out the door and disappeared. "What did the gnome mean?" Rose asked as she gathered up her cloak of dried rose petals that were held together with cobwebs and lined with goose down. "I don't know, but the lady lives in the sacred grove." Meadowgrass pulled on her hat. "Perhaps if we go to see the goddess, she can explain what Brown Nobby was talking about." The fairies left their snug little home and trudged off through the snow toward the sacred oak grove. The forest was dark, with only the light of the moon shining down through the thick fir branches and the bare limbs of the maple and hawthorn. It was very difficult for them to get through the snow because they were very, very small. As they waded through the wet snow and shivered in the cold wind, they met a fox. "Where are you going, fairies?" asked the fox. "To the sacred grove," they answered. They were cold and shivering. "Climb on my back, and I will take you there swiftly." The fox knelt down so the fairies could climb up. Then he raced off through the dark. "Listen," Lilac said as they neared the grove of sacred trees. "Someone is singing happy songs, a lot of someones." The beautiful music carried over the cold, still, moonlit air. It was the most beautiful music the fairies had ever heard. The fox carried the fairies right to the edge of the stone altar in the center of the grove and then knelt down. "Look," said Elder Blossom as they slid into the snow-covered ground. "There is the maiden and the mother and the old wise crone and many other little people." "They were all smiling and happy," said Lilac as she looked around at all the other creatures. "All the animals are here too," whispered Dandelion. "Why are they all looking at the mother?" The fairies moved closer to the three ladies seated on the altar stone. The mother held a bundle close in her arms, smiling down at it. The maiden reached down and took the fairies gently into her hands. She held them close to the mother so they could see what she held. "Oh, a baby!" the fairies cried. "A new little baby! Look how he glows!" "He is the newborn Sun King," said the maiden, smiling. "But Brown Nobby in the old oak tree said that the Sun King was dead," the fairies answered her. "How can this little baby be the Sun King?" "That is the great secret of the winter solstice," said the old wise one, as she touched the baby's cheek with her wrinkled hand. "Every year the Sun King must come to the sacred grove during the darkest days of winter where he dies. I take his spirit to the mother who gives him new life again. This is the way for all creatures, not just the Sun King." That. So everything, you mean everything, lives and dies and lives again? The fairies looked down and wondered at the baby Sun King, nestled in the arms of the mother. "Yes, little ones," answered the old wise crone, "there is never an end to life. This is the great mystical secret of the winter solstice." The fairies laughed because they were so happy. "I think the little Sun King should have gifts," said Rose. "I will show him where the wild roses bloom in early summer. And I will teach him to call the birds and to listen to the songs of the wind," exclaimed Dandelion. "When he is older and stronger," said the mother, "then the flowers will bloom at his touch, the birds will return to sing their songs, and the air will be warm from his breath, and the winter will be gone for a time. Then the Sun King will run and play with you in the forest." And the little fairies sang to the baby Sun King songs of the coming spring, with the sweet-smelling flowers and the bumbling bees and all the secrets of the forest. And all the creatures within the sacred grove sang with them. Then the fox took them back to their snug little home under the roots of the giant oak tree, where they dreamed about everything that they would get to do with the new Sun King.
Our next story comes from Western China. This story is called How the Rooster Got His Crown. Once long ago, when the world had just begun, there were 6 suns shining in the sky instead of just one. One spring, the rains refused to come, and the 6 brother suns parched the earth with their great heat. The farmers of every tribe watched in great dismay as the young green shoots they had sown with such effort baked brown in the white blaze. Wise ones of a village in the west gathered with their chieftain. The chieftain's forehead was creased with worry. "Without food, we shall surely die," he said. From within the crowd, an old man said, "The only help for it is to shoot the suns." The chieftain's forehead relaxed. "That's it!" He clapped his hands. "We must gather from all tribes the best archers. They must shoot down the suns." Strong archers from every tribe in the land traveled to the village in the west. Their clothes were of many colors, and they spoke different languages. But all were ready to rid the sky of the dangerous brother suns. Alas, though their bows were hefty and their arrows swift, and 6 times 6 they tried, pouring sweat and grunting with exertion, not one arrow reached even halfway to the suns. The archers looked at each other in great humility. In their many languages, they said, "The 6 sun brothers are too far away for our slender arrows." People drooped sadly in the terrible broil. How can we save ourselves? They wondered. Then suddenly, Hao Yi, a sharp-eyed warrior from a faraway tribe, had an idea. Using his hands so that he could speak to all the people, he beckoned them to the edge of a pool of still water. There, moving ever so slightly on its surface, were reflected the 6 balls of blinding white. Hao Yi pointed up with one hand to the heavenly suns and down with the other to the mirrored suns. Then, smiling hugely, he drew his hands together. Ah! Hao Yi seemed to be saying that the suns in sky and water were the same. Hao Yi drew his bow, but instead of shooting up into the sky, he aimed straight down into the pool. His first arrow pierced the first sun, which disappeared into the bottom of the pool. Ah! He fired again, and the second sun disappeared. Then the third, the fourth, and the fifth sun. The people whooped. Hao Yi was shooting down the suns. But when the 6th son saw what had happened to his brothers, he fled over the hill. People fell at once into an exhausted sleep. They planned to wake the next day to sow again their crops. But alas, there was no next day, for the 6th son, frightened and angry, had hidden himself deep in a cave and refused to come out. The night went on and on. The chieftain's forehead crinkled again with worry. The wise ones gathered. Crops will no more grow in constant darkness than they did in too much light, said the chieftain. We must send someone to coax the sun from his hiding place, said the old man. Well, the people first sent the tiger to the sun's cave. The tiger roared and roared for the sun to come out. He batted with his paw at the cave door. The sun was resolute. Go away, he shouted. I won't come out. People then thought that the lowing of the cow might lure out the sun. The cow begged gently outside the cave entrance. But the sun was still sulking. I won't come out, he yelled again. At last, people sent a rooster to crow outside the hiding place of the sun. The rooster puffed up his feathers. He neither asked nor begged, but simply shouted exuberantly. The sun was enchanted. What a lovely sound, he said, and peeked outside to see who could be making such music. The rooster, just as pleased with his own music, strutted and crowed again. The sun liked Rooster's sounds so much that he came all the way out of the cave. Sun and Rooster bowed to each other, and Sun gave Rooster a present of a little red crown. And Rooster wears his crown to this very day, whenever he summons the sun, and even if the sun is slow in the cold time, remembering with sorrow the deaths of his brothers, he never fails to greet his feathered friend, nor to light the day for the farmers who are growing their crops for the people to eat. The end. And now we have 2 remaining treats for you tonight. You'll hear a favorite solstice carol here in a moment, but before that, we would like to invite back a favorite from Solstice of years gone by, someone you might have been missing all these years, a wonderful friend of our congregation, a wonderful friend of Solstice. Mr. Sun, are you there?
I am here. Hello, everyone. Happy day. It's a sunshine day. And that's even true on a Monday. Today's December 21st. Today deserves some verse. It's a sunshine day so fine, every day should have sunshine. I just came in from the sunny side of the street, and so I'm so glad that we could meet. Today is the winter solstice, a day for happiness and bliss, the day with the least amount of sunlight. So for me, all of you are a winning sight. And I should also say, today, right now, it's a winning sight because for the first time in almost 400 years, since 1623, I have arranged for two of my planets, Jupiter, Saturn, to be as close as they could be so that all of you here on Earth could see them tonight on winter solstice, a special time for us to meet. Now, for just a moment, you might ask, maybe you've already asked, why is Mr. Sun wearing a mask? Well, I want you to live another day, in fact, many, many days, so you can bask in my sun rays. I want you to live every day. This year, 2020, has been a year with much darkness, a year of 365 days of ups and downs, of brightness, sun ups and sundowns. Please do not be afraid of the cold winter's night. Please, no wintertime shocks if you see any of my sunspots. I will not give you sunstroke or interrupt or be abrupt. I am each day rather sunny side up. So keeping my proper social distancing here, I'm going to take my mask down for a few moments before I disappear. I wish all of you could always see bright sunrises and sunny sunsets. I hope none of you this 2020 year will have ever felt sunburned or sunbaked. I can tell you, I have no sorrow. In fact, yep, I can tell you that I have a fairly sunny disposition, and I am always sunny side up because I have the expectation of tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. And so tonight, I can say, in fact, I think I will say, because I remember the Beatles of long ago, here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. And it's all right. It's all right. Now, I have fun shining on California surfers. I was one of those a long time ago, sun-drenched like sundogs and sunburned at sunset. But on this darkest of December nights, do remember the words of Albert Camus. We cannot see the sunshine without knowing the shadows. Do not let my changing lights be disarming. I have never wanted to be the dark knight or ever wanted to be the Prince of Darkness. I prefer to be seen as the bright Prince Charming, and please, please do not ever blame me for global warming. Now, every day of the year, I have come 93 million miles in just 8 minutes to see one of your smiles on this earth. And I say, before democracy may burst, and for what it's worth in this hour, and before I overheat or need deletes, that I'm aware of bitter Twitter tweets, that even today I hear for White House power or for congressional power. But I hope the earth will always, always continue to enjoy me in my solar power. Now, when you are cold and lonely, who do you hope to have seen? A Halloween witch asking, trick or treat, my dear? No. A porcupine, a lovely porcupine cuddling up close to you, asking loudly, be my Valentine? No. How about a University of Utah football player or a French philosopher saying, ha, ha, ha? No. So if I had to surmise, or if I had to bet, then I would want Mr. Sun all day, from the sunrise until sunset. So if you guess, then I must confess, the cosmic and geothermal answer is yes. So remember deep in December, the words of Ernest Hemingway, the sun also rises. Tomorrow, I will rise and shine. Tomorrow, you will see with new eyes. Tomorrow will be a day so fine. Every day should be full of sunshine. Remember, deep in December, on this winter's solstice, to say, good day, sunshine. Good day, sunshine. Good day, sunshine. Good day, sunshine. Let me give you some sun rays and give you future sunny days. And while it is dark outside, it seems, remember my bright sunbeams. And as I leave you now, for just a while, deep in December, please remember, I am the sun. Tonight, all of you are the moon. I am the words. You are always the tune. This darkest night is not the end. We will meet again some sunny day. Have fun. We are not done. For I can already see me, Mr. Sun, on your horizon. Cheers. Happy days. Go in peace. Stay healthy and safe. The sun loves you.